Oh hey, it's me, Funké. You probably know me from the internet, but today I'm back with a hit new show called This Week in Games. Oh, my glasses. With this series, I'm going to be talking about literally anything that has to do with video games each week. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to comment them below or at me on Twitter or whatever. But this week, I'm talking about ARMS, the hit new punching fighting game. Yeah! Now, a lot of people have been asking me, Funké, why do you care so much about ARMS? It's a stupid game for Nintendo idiots. And I say, you're the idiot. Idiot? I sweat buckets after playing the ARMS demo. And I spent long days analyzing gameplay and even longer nights thinking about an ugly-ass slime boy. That guy's ugly. You know he's ugly. Don't talk to me. And I've come to a conclusion. ARMS is weird as shit. And not just because of the dancing mummies or the punching spaghetti girls or the noodle stages or whatever. I just mean from the way Nintendo is handling it. It's super weird. I mean, they want this game to be a competitive game for the first time ever. And that is unheard of. Before the nerds come at me with the, what about Smash Bros? That wasn't their intention. They wanted the game to be a party game. And the only reason the Melee community is so strong is because of hardcore dedicated fans and a lot of planning. Melee fans created strict rule sets around items and stages to reduce the luck factor in matches. They capitalized on game-changing glitches and made them the norm for every single competitive player to know. And they organized tons of tournaments, friendlies, and other events for people of all skill levels. It's that process that turned a party game into a competitive game that's one of the most successful esports out there. And it had nothing to do with Nintendo. Now, why am I talking about Melee in a video about ARMS? Well, because we can learn a lot about what ARMS' future might be like from the history of Melee. And two relevant questions pop up when you think about Melee's competitive rise. One, why didn't Nintendo help them at all? And two, is the same thing going to happen to ARMS? Well, the answer to the first question is actually pretty easy, because they literally wanted Smash Bros. To be a party game, and they didn't care about the competitive scene at all. They developed it as a party game, they wanted it to stay as a party game, and they were super adamant about that. So adamant that they didn't listen to any criticism that could further the game competitively. They didn't create any games that had a competitive side to it. They didn't even organize tournaments or events. They just wanted the competitive scene to die. A lot. There's this quote from Melee's creators, and I just want to read this for a second. He said this to a Japanese gaming magazine back in 2014. When the game becomes more like a sport, a tool that more strictly rewards the player with more skill, the game tapers off more, like a mountain. Basically, without all the fake deep shit, he thought the community would die, and that only the pro players would play, meaning low sales, no sequels, and he might even get fired. So it's kind of reasonable why he decided to cater to the casual audience and not the pro gamers. But still, like, man, you could have done anything. Like, anything at all. Like, a tournament or something. On to the next question. Would Nintendo do the same things with ARMS? Probably not. ARMS is super niche. I mean, it's a fighting game, but it's also meant to be a 1v1 fighting game primarily. And we can tell that from the first announcement trailer all the way to the gameplay shown at the ARMS Direct, and even E3 where they showed 1v1 tournaments, where the producer kicked that guy's ass on stream. It was really funny. This is gonna sound really weird, but it kind of feels like a spiritual successor to Wii Sports Boxing. I know what it sounds kind of whack to say, but if Wii Sports Boxing didn't just have weird memes of your parents and it had actual characters and well thought out stages, this would be the game. ARMS is great. It looks good, it feels good, and it bleeds that original Nintendo IP vibrancy and charm. You know what I'm talking about? Like Mario Kart, Smash Bros, Splatoon, they all have that feeling, that glow to them, that little quirkiness they have, and ARMS does that with the fighting genre. And it's pretty cool to see. Another thing that can help ARMS separate itself from other games is the motion controls. Believe it or not, they're actually quite on point. Fleek, as the kids. Now, I'm kind of biased because I did jump on the Wii from day one, flinging around, flinging my arms all like that. Then I went to Kinect, and then I went to PlayStation Move, and I loved them, even though they do suck. That's a really common theme, they do all suck. But underneath all that suck is this childlike joy of punching your arm in real life like, hiya! And then seeing your little guy in the game go like, hiya! It's just so great, and it creates this immense little connection between you and the game that I haven't seen in any other form of gaming ever in my life. And ARMS aces that feeling. It literally takes that feeling by the horns and accentuates it above and beyond. It makes such a fantastic use of motion controls, and I love it. But the only thing I don't love is the movement options. The punching is great. The blocking is great. The grabbing, is great. But when you're trying to move around, got me fucked up. I'm moving like this. I'm contorting my body. I'm twisting up and down. It is not pretty to see. And I don't want to be looking that much like a fool when I'm using motion controls, because I do still have standards. Even though I'm using motion controls, I still have standards. So I'm thinking they have to have some sort of middle grounds there. Some sort of motion control, actual controller hybrid. Because I did try using an actual just standard controller, and it sucks all of the joy out of the game. Because a lot of the joy comes from, as I said, flailing around like an idiot and having a goofy fun time. So if they had a combination of that, somehow like you punch, and then use the joysticks to move, that would be crazy cool, and I would be such a big fan of that. Now, I don't have a Nintendo crystal ball. I really cannot say for a fact that ARMS is going to do well, but I really hope it does. I feel like it has what it takes to punch into the competitive scene and create a really fun environment for people to play a goofy-ass game. And that's all I want. I'm not gonna lie. The only reason I wanted to talk about this is because I have this really weird vision in my head of a bunch of nerds at a tournament like EVO or something, and they're all decked out in boxing gear, like the red swag and the jackets and the hoodies and the boxing gloves, and they're playing ARMS, and there's this just like a hushed tone of Rocky playing in the background, because I really want to see that, and I hope you want to see that too, and I hope it happens, because I'd pay money to see that. I really would. Well, what do you think? Because I care more about that. Do you think ARMS is going to be stuck as a game that your parents say, oh, is this what the new Nintendo does? Or do you think it actually has what it takes to break onto the competitive scene? Leave your answer in the comments below or tweet at me on Twitter at Funké, and I'll reply to you. I just want to hear what the people are saying. As always, Funké here. Bye.